Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Oh, good morning. I was reading some stuff over here. I'll get to in a little bit. I looked around and thought, holy cats, it's 10 o'clock and I usually like to give a couple of minutes on, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, on the introduction. I'll run some music and then that really old picture of the house, and that's like a 1920 or 1922 picture of the house that I put up there. So good morning. It's Tuesday live, and I'm running behind already. Oh my goodness. So I'll get into it a little more in a minute, but I'm looking at Nostr, which is it's a new kind of similar to Twitter messaging service kind of thing. And I was looking at it. A lot of the folks that I follow are setting up accounts over there and using a program called Snort Social, which it gets kind of in the weeds. Hi, Ronaldo. Good morning. Oh, I need to say good morning to everybody. I'm off track this morning, which is not unusual anymore. Oh, if I can spell. Morning, everybody. Yeah, so I was over here looking. I started this process. It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, back in the day, I set up my Twitter account in no time, and I set up the YouTube account, which I didn't use for years, in no time, and the Facebook in no time, and the Google and all that stuff in no time. But then some of this newer technology stuff, it just scrambles my brain. So folks are going to Nostr, and morning, Mike. Good morning, Hunter. Oh, it's so good to see you. I was just telling everybody who wasn't listening, people who aren't here, talking to the voices in my head. I got started just a tad bit late because I was over here looking. I tried to start a Nostr account through Snort Social, which is the one that Brian and Josh use. And I started it the other evening, and I just got too tired because I get up so early. Staying up late just is not in the cards. And I was reading over there and lost track of time and turned around, and it was 10 o'clock and time to start. So it's good to see everybody this morning. Oh, I hope I'm not shouting. I try not to. I've replayed some of these sometimes, and I'm really loud sometimes, and other times I'm not too loud. And I don't want to shout at people. Have you ever, there's somebody that you really enjoy watching their videos or listening to their podcasts, but they're just loud and kind of, I don't know, but it kind of takes away the your focus from because you get distracted by how terrible they sound on the air, so that what they're trying to say, customer calling, excuse me. Yeah. Customers come first. Then what they say kind of loses its effect because you get distracted by all the noise or loudness or craziness. So, I'm so glad to see you guys this morning. I see you survived the weekend. We had a lot of bad wind here. I think a lot of people did really over the weekend. It just made its way across the country and really kind of terrorized some folks. But so, hey, this is episode, for those of you listening, because I do have a few more videos than this, but this is episode 51 of the Holstein House podcast. We started out on Fountain, and that's my preferred podcasting platform, but you can pick us up on most of the major ones, I think. I've checked them all out at one point in time, and they were there on Apple Podcasts, Google Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, iHeart, Player. Player's one I haven't fooled with. Sorry, I've got allergy eyes this morning. Player's one I haven't really accessed any, and Samsung. I'm not sure, but these are options. When I upload the podcast, it goes through Podbean and out. And those are ones that Podbean connects with that I've applied to. So for those of you who are here, I hope you'll hit the thumbs up or the likes, depending on what platform you're checking out today. I appreciate it. It helps tweak those algorithms, makes them perk up, and please share. Please share if you find any value in what I'm saying today. Please share it out with your friends and stuff. And if I say anything, whether, those of you over on the Value for Value Exchange platforms, if I say anything that makes you smile, makes you mad, makes you happy, makes you think, be sure and share that value. And clip, I don't usually say a whole lot of things that's clip worthy, I guess. I don't have any great epiphanies and things. I do have fiberglass in my hands, though. Oh, that's painful to have fiberglass in your hands. So I should have thought about that. I'll get into that a little bit later, too. And by the way, yes, episode 51, which means last Friday was the 50th, and we had our little giveaways. And Chris Dixon won, and Mike won, and my friend Carla won, and she was participating over on Facebook, and Letty Lou and Ronaldo, but all won a little something. And Hunter has a package coming to him as well. Although he didn't technically win, someone was kind enough to gift him a little something. So I haven't checked this morning. I haven't received an email that they have been shipped, but those things, because I was going directly through Etsy, those things should be on their way this week. That was the estimated shipping date was this week. So I am so glad to see all you guys. Jackie Keithley, good morning. It's so good to see you. I eventually was able to catch you or see that you were online Sunday for service, and I do appreciate it. Oh, Jesse's in a little bit this morning. Good morning, Jesse. I hope you get to listen. I know you don't get maybe you listen, but you don't usually comment. So some of you guys don't often. You should always let me know that you're out there, though, because it's kind of hard for me to know. Oh, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I lost my place. Which isn't hard this morning. Well, I haven't talked to you in a long time, Jess. You're going to have to catch me up on what's going on over at work. We had windstorms. Like I said, I didn't have any major damage from the windstorm, but there was a lot of nuisance stuff. Limbs down and stuff blown all over the place, even though I had things picked up. Man, it was some rough wind. I went out to to check on the chickens. The winds come through Saturday. Yeah, Sunday after church, I went out to look at the building and stuff. Everything on the surface looked okay. When I went out to the coop and the run and got to look, and the run at some point had been lifted. Of course, it's got a big tarp over it. And at some point it had been lifted and bounced a little bit. A couple of the blocks of 4x4 wood that we had under a couple corners to level everything out had come loose, where that thing had bounced so much and knocked it loose. Because it's on a slope. It's kind of hard to explain. If you haven't seen the videos, the YouTube videos, I've got a couple of them out there. It's kind of hard to explain. The backyard slopes down kind of hard in one spot. And so the run for the chickens goes out and then down. And so the one section of it's a dog kennel is what it is. But it's the aluminum tubes that it's shaped like a house. and you put a tarp over the top of it. And if you're using it for dogs, you have a little dog house in there. Well, I'm using it for the chicken and the ducks for their run to keep them contained in the mornings. And to level it out, we had to put some blocks under it. And then, anyway, I have it kind of fastened down. I have a tie down going across their coop because it's a Rubbermaid building and it's very lightweight. And so it's going across the coop. And so when I put that extension on there, I took that tie down strap across part of the frame on the pin and back down and tied it down. So it wasn't going to blow away. I guess if we had an actual tornado come through it would have, but it wasn't going to blow away, but it did bounce. And I had to go out and go in there and set that back up. And we have a building beside of us that has a extension. Potty Mouth Renegade. Getting your stuff together this morning. Or hit Jack John Nicole's live. Yeah, I'll go with. It's so hard. There's so many people having great podcasts and great lives that you just can't catch them all. And I appreciate anytime any of you guys stop in and just, if you can't stay around, that's fine. Hit the like button though. The like and share and all that stuff. It's really appreciated. Chrissy, oh, good morning. Good to see you too, Chrissy. Wow, I've got a lot of people in this morning just to make sure that I don't go straight through my plan. Yeah, scheduling is tough. And I'm a morning person, so I need to have mine of the mornings. And there's a lot of them that are I just can't stay up late. It's really tough. I like to listen to Tim Cook's show, but I just can't stay up that late. I fall asleep in the middle of it. And it's not because he puts me to sleep. It's because it's late for me. Because he's on that other thing. Was he on Mountain Time? It's 2 hours different. Thank you. I see those thumbs up and those little hearts. There's a little, I know you can't see it from my perspective, but it shows on my screen. See, now if I point at it, I'm going to point here. But from what I understand from last week, it's actually over here if you were looking at it. So I guess you're looking backwards. But we have an outbuilding out back that had, it's the back of a building next to us. And it's just kind of like a shed that's attached. It's not well put together. And it had a piece of roofing felt. And it was probably 12 feet across because it was one gigantic piece of roofing felt. Well, that got pulled loose with all the nails that were in it and that trim strip that goes at the bottom and the flashing come off the end where you make the drip edge and stuff, and it just blew that out. And I went out to pick that up. I thought, oh, no big deal. I'll put it in the, I've got some. Bloody Boss is always interrupting my watch, but that's okay. You can replay it, Hunter. That's all right. Josh is falling asleep to Tim's show. Yeah, it's just tough. Tim Cook was my first live interview. I was so tickled to death that he would do it. It meant a lot. He and his wife, they were just both. They were really good. But I think, here I've got contractor trash bags. We keep them because we always are throwing big piles of stuff away. And I thought, well, I'll get these contractor bags out and I'll break that roofing felt up and I'll put it in those bags and, put it out for the trash to take. Oh, sweet brother. That didn't go well at all. That thing was huge. I never got it moved around, and it was breaking as I touched it because it was old. And I thought, this is not going to work. I got some into one of the contractor bags, and I thought, it's going to take me 18 bags to get all of this because it was so heavy, and the nails and everything else. And I just decided, well, best I can do is just break it up and put it in a pile until we can get it loaded in a truck and take it. It's just the way it's going to have to be. And dummy me, I never thought. It never crossed my mind that there was fiberglass in that stuff. And I got done, and it was like having a little fine cactus needles, and my hands were eat up with it. And I was washing my hands, trying to wash it out. And even still now, I can feel a little bit of it every now and again in there. It's killing me. It's killing me. But yay me, trying to clean up after the windstorm. But yeah, there was a lot of people that had a lot worse. So I'm not going to complain about that. The notary signings are kind of hit and miss right now. Usually what happens with the notary work, as far as with real estate and things like that, is you've got a couple periods of time when it flares up. You've got about the middle of the month, you get a bunch of opportunities. And then really towards the end of the month, really people want to close on, purchases and sales and stuff. And so at the end of the month, you tend to get a lot of calls. It takes about 3 days. So you've got, if you've got a 31-day month, then you're going to be really busy up to day 28, and then 29, 30, and 31 are processing days and stuff. So, but I had shared with you the other day, for those of you who were with me, I had shared with you that I had a job tentatively on the 6th, which is Thursday, down in Logan. And the particular area was about an hour and a half drive each direction. So when they asked me to do it and I quoted my price, I had to consider that I was going to spend 3 hours of my day driving. So it's not just the mileage, it's the time, because I'm not available for work during those 3 hours that I'm driving. So I considered that, and they agreed and they accepted. And I was supposed to be in Logan on Thursday afternoon at 2:00. Well, then they called back and said, no, they were all going to come in. They wanted to close faster. They were all going to drive into Charleston, go to the title office and just sign everything there. So they canceled on me by Wednesday of last week and said, no, they're just going to come in. It's okay. No big deal. Then on Thursday, the title office reaches back out to me and says, can you do it again on Thursday? Because they're decided they're not going to be able to get it done. And by then I had plans. I'm going to be meeting my friend Lisa in Clendenin, and we're going to talk some business in Clendenin on Thursday afternoon. And there was no way that I could meet Lisa, have our conversation, get the paperwork all picked up and everything, and head to Logan. It just wasn't going to happen in their time frame. So I gave them two options. I said I could do it on Tuesday afternoon, meaning today, or I can do it next week on Tuesday and or Monday. I think I told them Monday. And nope, they couldn't do that. So they ended up signing in Charleston. So that job for me has been canceled, which I hate, because it's decent money and I've got bills to pay, So that fell through, but there'll be some other ones, and I'll be meeting with Lisa on Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning, and we've got some catching up to do and some business to chat about. So we'll see how that turns out. The housekeeper that I had, I'm not sure if she's going to work out or not. She's a great girl, wonderful girl, but in the month since she agreed, and told me she wanted to do the work, she's been here the one time. I'm trying not to be, you're laughing at me. You can laugh. If I couldn't take the laughter, I wouldn't share it. Fiberglass. Well, it wasn't insulation though. Josh, it was felt roofing felt, or whatever it's called. It was, fiberglass insulation. I know that. I know. I never even thought about that roofing material having that fiberglass in there. But the little housekeeper, and I'll say little because she's younger than my son. She was legitimately sick. Don't have a problem with that. Her kid was sick. I understand. It's okay. But she wanted to switch out last week to Friday, which I said, if you come Friday, it has to be after noon. And, partially because of the podcast and stuff, and partially because I do Dad's INR test. And she she ended up coming back and saying she couldn't be here. So she's only been here the one time. You too, Chrissy. Have a good day. And she's only been here the one time, so she's not ready in my mind. Even if she's an excellent house, because I think she does similar work at a nursing home locally. It's not that she did a bad job. It's just she didn't do what I needed her to do. And the work that she did do was excellent. But I'm not ready to turn somebody loose with a key to my house and say, come and go as you please. And they've only been here one time. So I need to, and I had told her, I said, you get a couple more days here and I'll probably be comfortable giving you the combination to the key box on the door that I use for my guests. And, you can come whenever and I don't have to be here. But right now, she's only been here the one time. So I'm going to have to be here. And I like her. I don't want to tell her no, but it's not been any help to me yet. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I expect too much out of people. What was there something I was going to tell you about? I did mention before, and I'll keep mentioning, I'll get it filtered in here in a little different spot. For those of you guys who watch, the YouTubes or listen to the podcasts, if you direct book to stay, if you're traveling to or through West Virginia, along Interstate 6477 or the West Virginia Turnpike, and you're looking for a place to stay, of course, Holstein House is here. You can book through Airbnb or you can direct book, going to robinholstein.com, and in the menu, go to Holstein House, and you'll see both options actually for Airbnb and the direct book. But if you direct book, I've got, just for my podcast people, a 5% off code, and it's podcast 5, PODCAST, and the number 5. And if you use that, you'll get 5% off of your stay when you direct book, just because you're a podcast listener. And I know it kind of seems dumb to put podcasts for YouTube, but that's what I do. I do the YouTube and then I upload it to the podcast. And speaking of Airbnb, now most of my guests do come through Airbnb. That's a convenient form. We've talked about this before. They do take a cut. That's why it's cheaper if you direct book, even though it doesn't look that way. Airbnb gets their cut. So the guest is paying an inflated rate to give Airbnb their cut. I incorporate all of the fees that I have to pay into the room rate. I don't break out. You're not going to go to Airbnb and see separate listings for, $25 for cleaning and $15 for this and $30 for that. I don't do that. The cost of the room includes all of that, except I'm still trying to figure out what to do about electric vehicles. I haven't had another request for it yet, but I'm still working on getting that settled. But what I was bringing that up to tell you was, I started with Airbnb in 2017, and with the exception of the window during the Rona period, where travel was restricted, our governor was telling us, don't travel. I know some hotels and stuff were open. There was other B&Bs that were open. I closed my calendar. I waited. I didn't early on, but I kind of decided, maybe I should. Not so much. I didn't want to pick it up and then pass it on to my dad. Dad was still coming over every day. We were still, talking to him. I was still doing his INR tests and stuff. And I didn't want somebody bringing it in, giving it to us, and then me giving it to Dad. So that's kind of how that went. So I did close my calendar for a period of time. With the exception of that period of time, and about this time last year, in January of last year, I opened the calendar up again. And every quarter, Airbnb evaluates your ratings. And one of these times we might get into, if you're interested in how the ratings work with Airbnb, we can talk about that. That's it changes a little bit. They kind of twist it. They're kind of like YouTube in that they change things frequently to keep you on your toes. So it's kind of hard to always know what's going on with them. But I've had the Superhost designation all along, and so every quarter of the year, every 3 months, they evaluate or they calculate your evaluations. And if you meet their criteria, they grant you Superhost. Well, I found out yesterday I was awarded Superhost again for the 4th time in a row. And that is consistent with me reopening my calendar. So as soon as I was able to qualify, I qualified. And I've kept that qualification. And I'm kind of tickled about it. Some people look at it as in the Airbnb hosting world, it's not a big deal because it can drive you crazy because you are totally at the mercy of your guest. If your guest comes in with a terrible attitude already, they may rate you really low. If a guest, let me just use the example of service pet. I don't take pets. I mean, you got a pet, I'm not going to do that. There's a lot of reasons. But I had someone come in and tell me they had a service pet, and after I got to talking with them, this was a pup. And your service animals have to be trained, which means they have to be grown. You don't have a puppy. Puppies aren't trained. They have to be an adult dog that's ADA stuff. So, and I can get you that link too if you need it. We've had that conversation before. So if you show up at my door and you've got a pet and I say, nope, you can't do that. And you can rate me really low. And good to have you back, Mike or Ronaldo. I'm looking at Mike and saying Ronaldo, or looking at Ronaldo and saying Mike. Sorry. You can rate me low just because you don't like my hair color, just because you don't like my dogs, maybe. There's no rhyme or reason to their ratings. It's all very subjective. I've gotten bumped a couple of points because they didn't like the location. They said and I'm like, if this is the 21st century and you chose this and it's on the map and it shows you exactly where it is, you can go to Google Earth, you can look at the surrounding houses and stuff. Why would you pick me if you didn't like it? But people are funny that way. But I'm kind of tickled to say, I don't want to say I don't go out of my way, because I am pleased to say that if you come and stay with me, yeah, we live here, so it's not like you're getting a hotel lobby, but the house is clean, the bathroom's clean, your food is decent, your utensils are going to be clean. I mean, your room is clean, everything is clean. And even if we are, using it, and like with the front porches, speaking of the front porch, I got to get a message to the contractor, because he said this stuff I've been waiting all this time on my rails, and he said they were supposed to be in last week. I haven't heard from him yet, so I'm going to have to goose him a little bit and see what's going on with the rails and stuff. I want to get that done. I want that front porch finished so that we can move on to the next project. And he's a great guy. He's done a lot of good things for me. He's even done some urgent things quickly, stuffed them in, like some work I needed urgently done over at my dad's. He really, he stepped up and he helped us. So I don't want to be rude to the man. And, but we paid him a deposit and we're supposed to be getting that front porch finished. So I'm going to have to get after him. But I like to share the house, and I like to give my guests a decent experience. And, I'm glad that I got the, there should be a reason to be filled out to rate accountability 1 star. Cool, but why? Well, it kind of works the other way around, because it's 5 stars is good and 1 star is bad. So you don't want a 1 star. But there's not much. And it's all computerized. You're clicking stuff in, you're saying, would you recommend this person? So it's yes or no. I mean, this is all computerized. It's very subjective. But it's okay. It's not an enormous hurdle So that's why some hosts aren't worried about whether they get it or not. And when I first reopened my calendar, I did not have it because I'd been closed for years, so it fell off. And I was a little sensitive about not having it after having, quoted it in other messages back and having it in other videos and things a while back. So I was a little sensitive about that. But yeah, there's a small there's a small amount of challenge that you can do. If somebody challenges something, and that's why it's important to communicate through, if you're going to use Airbnb, to communicate through their messaging, because they can go in and read if there's a challenge, and you can say, I told Hunter that there were steps. I had one lady, and I've shared this before, who was upset when she got here because there were stairs to the bedroom and a bathroom's downstairs. It's all over my listing. I mean, it's just flat out there. There are stairs. She didn't read the listing. So she gave me a bad, no, it wasn't bad. It was like 4 stars and stuff, which every now and again is not a big deal. If you've got enough ratings, you can take a low one now and again, but it does screw your overall average. Kind of like grading on a curve. So there's that. I was really tickled to find that out yesterday. I did post that in the Telegram group, Holstein House T.me. I don't, just is terrible in it. T.me/Holstein House, one word, HOLSTEINHOUSE is the group. If you've got a Telegram account and you want to come over and hang out over there, I am spending too much time in there. I can tell you that. There's a lot. Oh my gosh, I spend too much time in there. I need to be doing other stuff in their conversation. It's kind of like the water cooler, just kind of over there talking. So Hip Camp, I hate to tell you guys, those of you who got the Hip Camp stickers or the tin mug, Hip Camp canceled me. They delisted me. And the reason, my understanding, is because it's not big enough space. I think they require a minimum of an acre of property. I don't have an acre of property. And there was also a comment about no privacy from the neighbors. This is probably my fault for not understanding the nature of Hip Camp. So I'm approaching it and setting up the account in that I have space where you can stay. They're looking at it like campground. It's a little different. So it's not it's like Airbnb in that you reserve through their program, but it's not like Airbnb in that you can't host in your home. So unfortunately, I was delisted. Now, if you're traveling through and you have a tent that you want to tent camp, you can still reach out to me. I haven't quite decided whether to try to list that through Airbnb or not. If I do, I have to create a separate listing. It's not a lot of steps, but it would be a brand new listing. I'm not sure how. I had to go closer, or I could take direct books too. I'm not sure how, but if you're coming through and you see this, and you've got a small, van camper, or you've got a tent, just holler at me. We'll work something out. I was getting set up for that, and so I have a lot of the things that I was going to have. So, like, if you were to do a tent camp, you needed a place to go to the restroom at night. I got all that stuff together, and I was going to set it up and do some. I may still do that. Set it up, take some pictures, and still list it direct book from me. But unfortunately, Hip Camp said, nope, you don't really meet our criteria, and you probably shouldn't have been able to set the account up. Oops, our bad. And I'm thinking, well, all right, fine. So, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? I was tickled to learn about Hip Camp. I'd never heard about it before, and it does give me some ideas of alternatives. So, there's that. Garden and poultry. My plan to get the chicks and the ducklings has just been messed over something terrible. I mean, I'm not getting that many, but still, I have not had the time to dedicate to get that together, and that's terrible. I'm glad I didn't order them through the mail, because they would probably be dead. Oh, because I've just had so much on my plate. We had, I had the HVAC issue at the church, my hot water tank bursting and having to get that replaced. The windstorm. Dad had a doctor's appointment yesterday. I had to take him to just a checkup appointment. That went fine. Then he asked me to take him to run some errands and have his eyeglasses adjusted and stuff. So I did that. So that took up a lot of time yesterday. And this afternoon, I'm meeting with our district superintendent of the church. I just need to have a conversation with him about what his plans are for our church, what I'm trying to do, and trying to get some help with that. Then I also I have some stuff in the back of my truck I need to take to Salvation Army and donate. I need to pick up soil for my container garden, and I don't have that yet. I really don't want to buy it by the bag because, and I've told you this before, the bag stuff I got last year was just junk, and nothing survived. Nothing. I didn't get anything out of my garden last year. It was awful. So I need to get some soil for that, for the containers, for my container garden. So there's just so much happening right now, and I don't see it getting any better. I really don't. I walked into, face first, my first official spider web this morning. First off, I don't like spiders, but it was outside. So I walked into its house. It was cringeworthy. I despise spiders. Oh my gosh, you don't understand how bad I hate spiders. If they stay outside, I'll leave them alone. But if they come in the house, I'm spraying them. They're just gone. I don't want them in my house. But it was in the corner of the door for the chicken run. So I'm out. I'm getting the poultry feed together and their fresh water together and their little treats and stuff that I give them, a little extra protein every morning. And and I was going through that door, and the spider had made this little web up in the corner, of that little door. And the way the door swung, it didn't tear the web down. And I just walked right in it. It's like, oh my gosh, if you know the feeling when you walk through a spider web, and it just, I hate spider webs. I hate them. So it just, it woke me up. Sure, well, I was already awake, but it was terrible. So I guess it's spring. Is it officially spring now that I've walked through a spider web? Oh gosh. The arch for the garden, I haven't put it up yet. I wanted to wait until I got the soil for the containers. And I have to I need to put a little paint on it, I guess. And I haven't decided if I want to go with traditional black on it, or if I wanted to try to do it white or green or something. I mean, if I do it green, I don't know. It's no sense in getting really elaborate. I mean, the idea is to have either green beans or tomatoes or something growing up it. Technically, our last frost date is the 23rd, so I need to get on the ball with getting my stuff started so it can go out. I absolutely haven't. I haven't started the first seed yet. It's terrible. Terrible. Shame on me. I have some fencing that I thought I would use the step-in posts or step-in T-post kind of looking step-in things to arch to do some squash or something on those if I can keep the chickens from eating them all. But again, time. I just don't have time to get all of this stuff done, and I'm losing my mind about it. I've got to go in and set up I think I fixed the coffee and chocolate special for Holstein House to expire at the end of March. I need to go in shortly and check that and update it and see if that's what I want to keep doing. I still do have coffee and I still do have chocolate. I have the West Virginia's Halls chocolate and Coal River coffee beans. I have the Coal River coffee beans, and they're locally produced coffee roaster from down in St. Albans. So I still have some of that left. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I could do that until it runs out, or maybe I just do it instead of making it something they have to agree to, since I have some left. But I need to check to get that fixed. Oh, and it's not when I do those specials, they're not for Airbnb. I want to encourage people to direct book. So the little extras that we do are for Airbnb are not for Airbnb guests. I haven't heard much more about the folks who that situation in Tennessee where the 28-year-old woman, transitioning woman, killed all those people. I think it's disgusting that she has been made out to be the victim because she decided to kill people. Killing is wrong, period, flat out. Murder is wrong, just flat wrong. Murder is something that you intend to do. People get killed like in car accidents. So when I say killing, it kind of a slip of the tongue because, if you're in a car accident and you die, you were killed. If I take a gun and shoot you in the head, you've been murdered. And that's what she did. And no amount of unfairness that life shovels on top of you justifies killing people or kids. I'm pro-life, flat out pro-life, and you don't kill kids. I'm pro-life enough now that I have reevaluated my position on the death penalty, and I now am opposed to the death penalty. I've offered to adopt children, adopt babies before they were born, so that the mothers would reconsider abortion. And I have, I've helped support families like that. But murder is wrong, flat out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't murder. And the last I heard, they were having some funerals, and they've made a victim out of the woman that pulled the trigger. But now, if I have a weapon, I'm supposed to give it up because somebody else murdered somebody. The old phrase, "Hey, Brianna, haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're feeling good, honey. You've been kind of quiet." That old phrase that's oft, I don't know, what is that? Is that a yeah, Josh, you do. I understand. Well, you left a long time ago, but that I understand. No big deal. Why seems okay to me. Hola, Mike. I missed a bunch of comments there. I'm so sorry. Hunter's got like the celebration horn or something going on there. Oh, I bet that's for the Airbnb thing. Okay, thank you so much. Should be a reason accountability. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm caught up there now. I'm sorry, but the old phrase that historic phrase from my cold dead hands comes to mind, and yeah, that's where I'm at there. Oh yeah. Dad and I were having that conversation after church. I take Dad to dinner after church on Sundays, and it was the and Dad's 82 now. His birthday's in August, and it was the hard times, strong men, good times, weak men conversation, and just that we're in a period of weak men. men being generic for humankind, U.S. citizens, and across the world. We're in a mess. We're in a mess, and we need the strong men to stand up, not just male, DNA, women too, but the neutral, generic use of the word men, as in mankind. We gotta. I get there are folks out there that say you can't do anything about it. Might as well not even try to do anything about it. I disagree with that line of thought. I disagree. I believe that if we did stand up the way we should, we could make it change. The problem is that 75% of those who are of age and eligible to vote won't do it because they say, oh, there's no use. Well, you know what? If you were doing it, it might change things. I vote. I'm not ashamed to say I vote. Sometimes I leave particular positions blank. But, if we don't stand up, we're going to go down. And it is very important that we educate ourselves. And we're all talking, not all of us, but a lot of us are talking about living the prepper lifestyle, living the self-reliance lifestyle. And yet we understand, we want to be left alone. Well, if you want to be left alone, you need to vote people in who agree with you being left alone. And if you want taxes and things reduced, if you want your government less involved in your life, then you need to not just move to Tennessee, but you need to be voting across this nation to change that. We are in the majority in that those of us who don't agree with the insanity that's going on in the major cities and in our capital of the country, we're in the majority, honey. And if you get off your hind end, you want to exercise, you want to have your own place out there, you want to be all solar, you want to be, all out there on your own, you need to be voting. If you would do it, things could be changed. As long as you don't, you're just as much part of the problem as the ones who do. When the major cities, and you can see the maps all over the place, where the major cities in California and New York and Chicago and Houston and Dallas and my brain just went blank on it. These places are voting us into a pit, but the rest of us could stop it. The rest of us could stop it. We don't have to overthrow the world. We don't have to break into the Capitol in D.C. We don't have to protest in the streets. We need to vote. We need to vote. It's just where I'm at, people. Don't bellyache to me and tell me it's not worth it and you can't make a change. Well, heck no. We're in the majority and we need to act like it. Anyway. As I mentioned before, this is episode 51 of the Holstein House podcast. Thank you so much. One of the things that doesn't get said here in the live version on the YouTube version is a recorded statement that I put on the podcast. And it says, this podcast looks at the culture and societal issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We go around the table in 60 minutes or less. Maybe I should start actually just saying that instead of tacking it on. The reason that I don't usually say it when I get started is because I have it pre-recorded for the podcast, and it goes on the beginning of the podcast. And then it would be I'd be saying it twice, but I've got it set for the podcast in a 30-second bite so that, so that I can time the show better. Anyways, I want to thank, there's a couple of people I want to thank you. Frostinos gave me 1,000 sats for the post about my water heater going out the other day. HJ has been so faithful to me on Fountain, and I really appreciate it. He gave me 400 sats over there. I know that sats compared to nickels, dimes, and pennies, I get it. It's not that much, but it means a lot to me. It really does. I am going to be getting that wallet, HJ. I know I keep saying I'm going to, but then I read about it, and then I get my brain scrambles, and I don't know, wait a minute, am I putting this on a USB stick? Am I putting this on? And I have to go back and look again because I just get distracted. Everyone, all you guys who participated in the episode last week on the 50th episode, thank you so much. That was so much fun. And I want to thank Brian and Josh, Brian over at the Lots Project and Josh the Renegade Butcher, because I have really learned, I've learned and been seriously confused by a lot of stuff that they're into. And this, where the Fountain and the Lightning Network and the different wallets and all of this stuff I'm learning about through them. And it's fun, even though, that potty mouth, those boys have such a, it's crazy. And I'm not going to get into that conversation about foul language. We're not going to have that conversation because I'm not a fan of foul language. You guys can have foul language all you want. I'm not a fan. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. You're grown up. That's on you. But I did start, because of Brian and Josh, I did start looking at Nostr. Nostr, Nostr, is kind of like an open source Twitter kind of thing. And they use, those guys are using a program called Snort Social to, it's kind of like using Hootsuite to post to Twitter. It's not perfect example, but it's kind of. So Snort Social, I'm trying to set up an account over there. And it's a shame for me to say try. At one point in my life, it was no big deal. I was so good with software. It was crazy. I could go in and I could do this stuff. It was no big deal. And I couldn't understand why any other people couldn't. But now the shoe's on the other foot. I'm really struggling with some of this stuff to grasp it because I've been away from that side of things for so long. So I'm starting, I'm going to Snort Social, and I'm trying to set up my account there, and it's wanting to know about my Lightning extension. It wanted me to put an Albi extension in my browser, so I was trying to do that, and then the Albi extension wanted a connection to my Lightning wallet, and I got to look in, and the ones that they had listed there, which one of these Lightning wallets are you going to connect to? No, I don't have any of those. And the only one that I recognized was Blue Wallet. And I swear I thought I heard something negative about Blue Wallet. Now, I may be wrong. Because all of these different wallets are just scrambling my brain. But I could have swore I heard something bad about, or not bad, but negative about Blue Wallet, like it was closing, or maybe it was a different one. I don't know. So now I'm stuck. I'm trying to figure out how to work my way through there to set that up. So that's a whole different program for those of you guys who've never heard of those things. It's I'm not the one to ask. You need to go to Brian or Josh or one of the other guys to do that. I didn't see Moon Wallet there. I didn't see Trezor Wallet there. I don't know. Maybe they're not even the same type of wallets. I've got to. That's why I can't. I just can't keep up. I just can't keep up with all of them. And so I get stuck trying to read and catch up on it. I do want to touch. I've got just a few minutes before I really need to kind of be really close to on the money today because I do have so much to do this afternoon. Managed to get the grass cut. My friend John Kuhn has agreed to cut grass over at the church for us, and he'll be taking care of Dad's grass again this summer. God love John Kuhn. he's a great guy. He's been a friend of Wayne's for a lot of years, and he started cutting grass for us last year, and it's really been great. He started taking care of my dad's grass because I just couldn't do it. And Mr. Holstein didn't have time to do it. We just couldn't get, but John had time, and it's kind of work that he's done for a long time during the season. And one of the fellows that he had been cutting grass for had passed away, so he had this gap and had this space. And I touched base with him, and he said, yeah, he could take care of the church too, so it's no big deal. So we got that done. I got some rehearsal time in for Easter Sunday. I got the marquee updated at the church, so it's just got a little phrase about no man or woman has traveled beyond grace, which is kind of a paraphrase of a verse in a song, because none of us have. None of us. You can't travel to the point in your life that God won't forgive you. And the grace of Christ is there for you. And it just is. It's just that easy. It really is. So I got that up on the marquee. I'll try to change. I've been wanting to change that at least once a month, if not twice a month. I'd like to change it every week, but there's just not enough of me to go around. Let's see. I got the newsletters mailed. Oh, I need to print one to take to the district superintendent. I want him to see it. I did get the newsletter mailed, so all of our church members should have those today. I took it to the post office on Saturday, gave it a day to process, which was yesterday. Should show up in mailboxes today, tomorrow at the latest. But it's a monthly printed newsletter that I've been sending. At one time, we were sending our bulletins to those who would be stuck at home so they could follow along with us. I just can't do that because it was going every week. There's just not enough of me. There's just not, because it has to be done so far in advance to get into the mail to arrive no later than Saturday. And it just was too much. And I just had to condense it down into a one monthly print newsletter and give them a general idea of what was going on at the church so that they knew what was happening. But if they needed the bulletin, they could reach out to me. I could email it to them, which I could email it to them at the last minute. That would be no problem. Or go to the church Facebook page and see it there on Saturday evenings. And I did mention that I have an appointment this afternoon with our district superintendent. And that is to talk to him to all caught up now in sync with the live. Okay, yeah, Ronaldo, yeah, Blue Wallet. I thought there was something going on there. But that's the only one that I recognized. Let me see if I still have that up over here. Then the only other one that I didn't really even recognize it, but it says Core Lightning, and it's the only one that says anything about lightning. And those, I don't know. It's a conversation I'm going to have with somebody offline or through Telegram or something. I'm going to have to walk through this. Sometimes I can figure stuff out. This is just getting beyond me. But so yeah, I do have an appointment with the district superintendent. I'll be talking to him about some of the challenges I've been having, trying to keep everything together. What his plan is. When is he going to send us a regular pastor? I don't mind. I'm taking the certified lay minister classes through the Methodist Church now, but it's going to take me a year to get that done. And we need, our Pastor Bill is good, but he's struggling. He's got a lot going on, so he's struggling. And we're going to have to have a more permanent person there. It's a difficult situation because I think the world of Pastor Bill and his wife BJ, but they're just in a position. It's just difficult all the way around. So I just don't have the bodies to help me rebuild the church, and it's just weighing on me a lot. I don't want to walk away from it. On the one hand, I feel like I'm compelled that I have a duty to help keep the church open while we're going through this difficult period. But on the other hand, I feel like maybe I'm the stumbling block. Maybe I'm the one that needs to get out of the way. But this is a conversation I'm going to have with the DS and get his input on that. Tomorrow we're having our viewing of The Passion of the Christ. I gotta go. I've also, along with everything else today, I've got to go move the projector back to the fellowship hall. There was a birthday party for a little youngin in the fellowship hall on Saturday, so I didn't want everything over there during that, so it was going to have to be moved anyway. So I just left it in the classroom. Then I didn't have a chance yesterday because everything was going on to move it over, so I need to do that today. I'm going to get the house cleaned. Oh gosh, so much to do. Oh man, it's 11 o'clock already. And there have been people who promised to help from other churches who said, yeah, we'll help you. Yeah, we'll help you. And I've reached out to them and they're not responding to me. It's kind of like they've ghosted me as well. And this is Holy Week for our church. And I was asked a couple of weeks ago by some folks in the congregation if we would hold services for Maundy Thursday and Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday. And I can't do it all. I just can't do it. So we'll have Sunday service, Resurrection Sunday service, but I can't do the other two. There's not enough of me to go around. There's really not. So I'm going to wrap up there. This has been episode 51. Oh, going to have to watch the replay. Sorry, Mr. Oh, no, it's no big deal. The replay is fine, Carla. That's good. That's good. I did get your shirt ordered, by the way. I did get it ordered. I haven't gotten a notice yet that it's shipped, but I do have it ordered. I'm going to wrap it up for episode 51. I'm so excited. But we have to start planning something for the big 100. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for that. I've got 49 more episodes before I have to worry about it, but I do want to do something really nice for that. Now, a long time ago, back last fall, Holstein House podcast was actually in the top 50 on the Fountain FM network charts. It was, and I've got a screenshot of it. I'm going to have to keep that screenshot out somewhere so I can pull it up faster, but I screenshotted it. We were like a couple behind Tim Cook's workshop podcast, and I did share it over in MeWe, I think. So it's over in MeWe somewhere. But it may have only been up a couple of days. I don't remember, but it was there. It was there, and I want to thank everybody for helping me get to number 50, and here we go for the next 50. And I want to thank everybody who's participated in that. And if you only get to see the replays, leave a comment that you saw, put a comment and put replay or something in there and say, saw it, loved it, shared it, So remember, there is a direct book special promo for our YouTube and podcast folks. It is podcast 5, PODCAST 5, the number 5. I'm going to load in the, I don't have the links and stuff in the description yet. I will load those later, and you'll be able to get to the Etsy shop. You'll see the Holstein House links and stuff like that in there. Links to my books. I don't ever hardly talk about my books. I need to talk about my books a little more. Cookbooks that I've done, Think Outside the Office that I wrote, stuff that I have on the Etsy shop, and just all of the different social media platforms that I have accounts on. Just start with one now already. Yeah, just start with one now already. I know they're tired of me talking. I've been talking about it for about 3 months now, so I need to get that done and over with. Hopefully, I plan to do that. I do. But I'm going to go, and I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Technically, Friday is Good Friday, and a lot of places will be closed. But I still plan to have live unscripted on Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. I hate daylight time, but Eastern Daylight Time on Friday, live, unscripted. So just about anything goes on Friday. So think things up, think some questions up, and come back on Friday and join me again. I'm going to get off here now because I got so much to do this afternoon and I really got to get after it. So take care, you guys, and I will see you again Friday. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye. So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.